quick book recap. Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into this book, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero.
Right. And it's interesting because it's not really about, spreadsheets or typical money advice.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye. It seems more about your head, like
Yeah,
your thoughts about money.
exactly. That's the absolute core idea. Jen Sincero basically says that how much money you have or don't have isn't just about your job or your spending habits. It's mostly about your mindset.
Your mindset.
Yeah, like what you truly believe deep down about money, about whether you deserve it, about rich people, all that stuff. She argues your financial situation is pretty much a mirror reflecting those inner beliefs.
Huh. So changing how much money you have starts with changing how you think, not just getting a better job.
That's the whole foundation of the book. Your mind is either like the biggest wall stopping you from getting wealthy, or it's the engine that can help you create it. It's all about getting your inside world, your thoughts, your feelings, your energy lined up with actually having the money you want.
And the author, Jen Sincero, she actually did this herself, right? The sources mentioned her story.
Oh, yeah, totally. And that's a huge reason the book clicks for so many people. She's super open about struggling a lot with money in the past.
Like really struggling.
Yeah, she talks about being broke, living in a tiny converted garage at one point, feeling pretty hopeless about it. She wasn't someone who just automatically knew how to handle money or build wealth.
Okay, so she wasn't just born rich or anything.
Not at all. Her whole point is showing how she went from that place, from feeling scarcity all the time, to building a really successful, abundant life. She uses her own transformation as proof that the ideas she teaches actually work.
So it's not just theory she read somewhere.
Right. It makes it feel really credible, like, hey, I did this and here's how you can too.
Wow.
Basically by changing her own mind first.
Okay, that makes sense. So what we want to do today is really dig into the main ideas from the sources on this book, kind of pull out the big lessons.
Yeah, figure out what she's actually saying, how the ideas connect, and most importantly, why it matters for you listening. If you feel stuck with money or just want to, have more freedom financially.
Got it, like getting the core framework she presents.
Exactly. We'll walk through the steps she lays out, starting with understanding where your head's at with money right now, and then moving into how she says you can change it. See if it feels right for you.
Cool, I'm ready. So where does she start? Like, how do we figure out our current money mindset?
Well, one of the first things she tackles is this difference between what society, or maybe your family, tells you that you should want versus what you deep down actually desire.
Oh, right. Was that the story about the owls? I remember reading that.
Yes, the owl saga. It's such a simple, kind of funny example in chapter 1. She talks about a friend who somehow ended up with this massive collection of ceramic owls.
Wow.
Yeah, like little statues and stuff. It started small. Maybe someone gave her one as a gift. But then family and friends thought, oh, she collects owls. And they kept giving her more, talking about her owl collection.
Uh-oh.
And it just grew and grew. But the funny thing was, the friend didn't actually like owls that much. She didn't want this huge collection. It became this burden she felt stuck with because everyone else decided it was her thing.
Wow. That's a great picture. Like you can end up carrying around stuff or maybe beliefs that aren't really yours.
Exactly. And the book says this happens all the time with money. Society, our parents, TV shows, ads, they're constantly pushing ideas about what success looks like, how much money is good, what kind of car you should drive, what kind of house you need.
Right.
And if what you truly want deep down doesn't match that picture, maybe you want a simpler life, or maybe you secretly want to be mega rich, which sometimes feels taboo.
Oh, well.
You might push your real desires down, suppress them.
And that holds you back financially.
That's the idea. It creates this inner conflict. You're saying you want one thing, but maybe deep down you feel guilty about it, or you're trying to live up to someone else's expectation. It feels like you're fighting yourself.
Jen Sincero talked about feeling that way herself, didn't she? Like resisting being rich.
Yeah, she's really honest about it. She realized that for a long time, part of her struggle was this unconscious resistance, this pushback against the whole idea of being wealthy.
Why? Why would anyone resist that?
Well, she traces it back to beliefs she picked up growing up. Maybe ideas that rich people are greedy, or that wanting a lot of money isn't spiritual or noble, or maybe just feeling like it wasn't possible for someone like her.
I can see that.
So a really big first step, maybe one people don't even think about, is just giving yourself permission to be rich. Consciously deciding it's okay for you to want wealth and to actually get it.
Permission. That sounds weird. Doesn't everybody already want to be rich?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But Sincero argues that deep down, a lot of us have really negative feelings or hidden beliefs about money. We might see rich people in movies as villains or hear negative comments about them.
Yeah, true.
So even if we say, I want more money, our subconscious mind, that hidden part of us, might be thinking, nope, money is bad, rich people are awful. And that creates this internal tug of war that actually pushes money away.
So giving permission is like telling your subconscious it's okay,
Right.
overriding the old negative stuff.
Exactly. It's consciously saying, wait a minute, it is safe and it is good for me to have abundance. I allow this.
Okay, so it involves changing how you see wealth itself, not just wanting more dollars.
Totally. The book really stresses that money itself isn't bad or good. It's just a tool, like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house or, break a window. Money's the same.
A tool for what, though?
For freedom, mainly. Freedom to make choices, to have cool experiences, to help people you care about, to start that project you've dreamed of, to not stress about bills. The book frames a healthy desire for wealth, not as greed, but as a desire for life, for living a bigger, fuller, more joyful life.
And usually, the specific things we dream about, yeah, they cost money. Traveling, learning things, even just having free time.
Right. Your unique dreams, maybe it's starting an animal rescue or learning to fly a plane or just having enough savings to feel secure, those things need financial fuel. The book says it's absolutely okay to want money for those reasons, for what it allows you to do and be.
I like that way of thinking about it. It's not just about piling up cash, it's about enabling your life.
Yeah, it's a really important shift. And this connects to a mantra she introduces, I love money because I love myself.
Whoa, okay. How does that work? Loving money because you love yourself.
It ties your feeling of self-worth directly to your ability to receive money. The idea is if you don't feel, deep down, that you're worthy and deserving of good things, including money, you'll unconsciously block it or sabotage yourself when you start getting it.
So low self-esteem can actually lead to low bank balance.
That's definitely the connection she draws. Your self-worth and your net worth are often linked. Believing you are valuable just as you are is kind of a prerequisite for letting wealth flow in and stick around.
And she also mentioned, how society views rich people affects us.
Yeah, briefly. If the culture around you constantly criticizes wealthy people, it reinforces your own hidden fear of becoming one of them, which can subconsciously stop you from pursuing wealth yourself.
Okay, so step one is huge. It's about untangling what you want from what others expect, noticing your own resistance, and giving yourself permission to want wealth as a tool for a good life, connecting it to your self-worth.
Yeah, that really sets the foundation, and it leads right into the next massive idea, which is basically the engine driving this whole thing. Your beliefs don't just influence your reality, they actually create it.
Ah, okay. The our realities are make-believe thing. I remember that phrase.
Yes, that's a direct quote from the material. Our realities are make-believe. Whatever we make ourselves believe, we experience. This is like the central pillar of her philosophy.
What does that mean, though? Like the world isn't real?
Not quite like that. It means the world you experience, especially your financial world, is filtered through the lens of your debt beliefs. If you truly believe, deep down, that money is hard to get, guess what? You'll constantly find evidence to prove that true. You'll overlook opportunities, focus on struggles.
But if you believe opportunities are everywhere,
Then you'll start noticing them. Your brain literally filters reality based on what it expects and believes. It's like tuning a radio, you pick up the stations you're tuned into.
and this connects to the subconscious mind, the child king.
Exactly. That's a really powerful image she uses in chapter 2. Think of your subconscious mind, the part that runs things automatically, like breathing or habits, as this little king. He's super powerful, runs the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
But he's still a child. He learned all the rules of the kingdom, your beliefs about money, life, yourself, when he was really young, maybe from your parents, teachers, early experiences. And even though you're an adult now, that child king is still running the show based on those old, outdated rules he learned way back then.
Wow. So if my parents always worried about money and argued about it,
Yeah.
my inner child king might think money, stress, and danger.
Precisely. And that little king trying to protect you from the stress he learned about might actually keep you away from money as an adult, even though your grown-up self logically wants it. It's like having old software running your brand new computer.
Okay, that makes a scary amount of sense. How do you even know what those old rules are?
Right.
And how do you, update the child king's programming?
It takes becoming aware, like waking up to the old programs. She uses another good analogy in the chapter 2 Q&A, the squid story.
Oh, yeah. Tell me that one again.
She talks about eating something she thought was worms. Disgusting, right? Her whole experience was repulsion, feeling sick, because her belief was, I'm eating worms.
Yeah.
But then someone told her, no, that's not worms, it's squid, calamari. Suddenly, knowing the truth, her perception changed completely. The food itself didn't change, but her belief about it transformed her experience from disgusting to maybe even enjoyable.
Ah, okay. The physical thing was the same, but what she believed it was changed everything.
Exactly. And money is like that squid. It's just money, a tool. But your beliefs about it determine whether it feels scarce and scary or abundant and easy, whether it's worms or squid in your mind.
And our words play a big part in reinforcing those beliefs.
Huge part. Words matter, she stresses. The things you say out loud, especially the things you say about yourself and money over and over again. They're not just words, they're like commands you're giving to your subconscious.
So saying I'm always broke or I can never afford that is like programming yourself to stay broke.
That's exactly the argument. You're cementing those beliefs, telling the child king, see, this is the reality, keep it this way. And she lays out this chain reaction. Your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions or lack of action. Your actions create your reality.
Thoughts, feelings,
Mm-hmm.
actions, reality.
Yep. So if you want to change your reality, especially your financial one, you absolutely have to start at the very beginning of that chain. You have to change your thoughts and beliefs.
Okay. Thoughts are the foundation.
Yeah.
So the real work is figuring out how to change those thoughts, especially the deep subconscious ones.
Right. And she gives pretty simple framework for it, like a mastering your mindset plan. 4 steps.
Okay, what are they?
Step 1. Be aware. Just start noticing your thoughts about money. What pops into your head when a bill comes? What do you say when you think about your dream vacation? Listen to your internal chatter. Just notice, without judgment at first. Step 2. Question them. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Where did I even learn this? Is it helping me or hurting me? Challenge those automatic negative thoughts.
Okay. Aware, then question.
Step 3. Reframe. This is where you actively replace the negative thought with a positive, empowering one. So instead of making money is hard, you consciously choose to think and say something like, money comes to me easily, or I am capable of creating abundance.
Find a new thought to replace the old one.
Exactly. And step 4, practice. This is super important. You have to practice the new beliefs over and over again. It's like exercising a muscle you haven't used.
Practice. How do you practice a belief? Just say it a lot.
Saying it helps, definitely that's affirmations. But also acting as if it's true, feeling the feeling of it being true. She suggests practical exercises too, like sit down and actually write out all the messages you remember hearing about money when you were a kid, good and bad.
Oh, wow. That could be revealing.
For sure. See the patterns, then consciously rewrite the negative ones into positive statements that feel good to you. And yeah, repeat those positive affirmations daily. Hourly if you need to. You're essentially retraining that child king.
Giving him new software to run on.
That's a perfect way to put it. And this connects to another concept she introduces, universal intelligence.
Okay, that sounds a bit out there. What does she mean by that?
Yeah, it can sound that way at first. In the Chapter 3 Q&A, she describes it as this invisible energy or force in the universe. It's not like a person, more like the source of everything, the energy that creates worlds. And the idea is this intelligence responds to your focused thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, your energy,
It's on towel.
by helping to bring your desires into your physical reality. So in this view, money doesn't just randomly show up or only come from your boss. It flows through people, jobs, opportunities, but it ultimately originates from this abundant universal intelligence that's matching your inner state.
So it's less about chasing a specific paycheck and more about tuning your own energy to attract abundance from this bigger source.
That's the perspective, yeah. Focus on feeling abundant, believing in possibility, taking aligned action, and trust that the how, the specific ways the money shows up, will be orchestrated by this intelligence in response to your vibration.
This definitely makes you think differently about money itself, not just as paper or numbers.
It really does. And Chapter 3 dives more into understanding money. She uses another funny story about her mom realizing she kept using a certain inappropriate word without thinking.
Ah.
The point wasn't the word itself, but the fact that her mom used it automatically, unconsciously. It reflected some deeper habit or maybe belief. Becoming aware that the word was just popping out was the first step to changing the pattern. It's another way to show how our automatic behaviors, including how we talk about and handle money, reveal those hidden beliefs. We need awareness to get off autopilot.
So again, listening to yourself is key. What you say, how you act.
Absolutely. It's like a mirror. And she really emphasizes again that money is just neutral. Think way back before money even existed. People traded stuff, right? Bartered. A chicken for some tools.
Yeah.
Money was just invented to make that trading easier. It's a medium of exchange. It has no built-in good or bad quality. It only gets the meaning and energy that we give it.
And that's where our negative beliefs mess things up. If we think it's dirty or the root of all evil.
Then that's the energy we attach to it, and that energy shapes our entire relationship with it. We push it away or feel guilty having it or spend it frantically. She also makes a really important distinction between wanting money and being greedy.
Yeah, because wanting money can sound greedy sometimes.
Right. But she defines greed as this excessive, never satisfied craving for more, 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 often without caring about others. Just wanting enough money to live a comfortable, joyful life, to pursue your dreams, maybe help your family, or contribute to causes you believe in that's presented as a healthy, positive desire. Not greed.
Okay. Wanting a fulfilling life with financial freedom isn't inherently selfish.
Not in this view. It's about seeing money as energy. And your attitude towards it feeling abundant versus feeling lack affects the flow. She encourages interacting with money positively. Feel happy when you get paid, even if it's a small amount. Feel grateful when you pay bills, seeing it as an energy exchange for things you value, like electricity or food.
Treat it like a friend, almost. Or at least, not an enemy.
Yeah, or like healthy circulation in your body. You want energy flowing in and flowing out smoothly. She shares Joe's success story in chapter 3, which is a great example.
I have it with Joe.
The key thing was, Joe didn't suddenly get a huge promotion or win the lottery. His big change was internal. He started consciously changing his mindset. He decided he deserved to be financially stable. He focused on managing what he did have responsibly, and he started believing things could get better.
And then
And then opportunities started popping up. More income started flowing in from unexpected places. His outer world changed because his inner world shifted first. It really hammers home that mindset point.
wow. Mindset first.
That's the message. And she gives concrete things you can do to start inviting this feeling of abundance. Write down positive things about money. Money lets me travel. Money helps me support my family. Practice feeling real gratitude every single time money comes to you, even finding a quarter on the street.
Feel grateful for small things too.
Yes. Visualize money flowing easily coming to you, going out from you in a positive, healthy way. And a super simple, practical tip. Keep some actual cash in your wallet. Don't always rely on plastic.
Why cash?
Seeing it, touching it can make money feel more real, more normal, more accessible, less like some abstract thing that's always scarce. It helps ground the feeling of having it.
Makes sense. Makes it tangible.
Right. And she offers another mantra here. I love money because it's the root of so much awesome. It directly flips that negative saying about money being the root of evil.
Yeah, reframing it completely.
Exactly. And connecting back to universal intelligence, she adds a little warning in the Q&A. Try not to pin all your hopes for money on one single person or one specific job, because that really limits the possibilities. If you're only focused on getting a raise from your current boss, you might miss other opportunities the universe could send your way. It's better to focus on the overall energy of abundance and trust that it can come through many different channels.
Okay, so wrapping up these first big ideas, it's about seeing where your beliefs came from, knowing they shape your reality, understanding money is neutral energy, ditching the idea that wanting it is greedy, and actively practicing new positive thoughts, feelings, and interactions around money.
You got it. That lays the whole groundwork for everything else she talks about.
Okay, so if you start digging into those beliefs, I imagine you probably bump up against some uncomfortable stuff, like fears. That seems like the next step.
Oh, absolutely. Once you start challenging your old money story, the fears definitely show up. Chapter 4 is literally called Best Practices for Busting Yourself, and it's all about facing those fears that keep you stuck.
And she shares her own experience with this at that seminar, right? The manifesting money like a millionaire thing.
Yes, that's a key story. She talks about going to this seminar, wanting to improve her life and career, but feeling totally out of her element, really uncomfortable being around people talking about big money goals.
I can picture that feeling.
Totally. And then the speaker starts offering these high-level coaching programs, and one of them cost, wait for it, $85,000.
$85,000. Wow. What did she do?
Well, her first, gut reaction was pure panic. No way, I could never afford that. That's insane. Just immediate shutdown.
Yeah, I think that would be most people's reaction.
Right. But because she had already committed to changing her life, she caught that automatic no way thought, and she consciously forced herself to shift it. Instead of, I can't afford it, she asked, okay, how could I afford it if this was something I really needed?
Changing the question from impossible to possible.
Exactly. And just exploring that possibility. How could I make this happen? Started digging up all these deeper hidden fears and blocks she didn't even know she had.
Like the stuff the Child King was holding on to?
You got it. And one of the biggest, most surprising fears she uncovered, it was about her dad.
Her dad. How did he fit in?
She realized that a hidden part of her was actually afraid of becoming super successful and wealthy because she worried she wouldn't need her dad's financial help or emotional support anymore. And she was scared that might upset him or make him feel like she didn't need him.
Whoa, that's deep. And totally not obvious. How do you even find fears like that? They're not always about just losing money.
Great question. And the book gives some practical tips for exactly that, for busting your fears. Tip number 1 is bum rush your fears.
Bum rush, like tackle them.
Kind of. It means intentionally taking action on things that scare you, especially things related to your money goals. The idea is you have to want your dreams more than you want the comfort of staying stuck in your fear stories.
So doing the scary thing forces the fear out into the open.
Exactly. If you're terrified of public speaking but need it for your business, doing it is bum rushing the fear. Asking for that raise, launching the website, making that investment call, taking the action exposes the limiting belief behind the fear so you can actually see it and deal with it.
Action reveals the hidden belief. Okay. What else?
Tip number 2 is watch your mouth. We talked about words, but this is specifically about the negative, fearful language you use when you think about taking action. Things like, oh, I'm not smart enough for that, or it's too risky, I'll probably fail, or what if people laugh?
Yeah, that negative self-talk.
You have to catch it and consciously replace it with empowering words. I'm capable, I learn from every experience, I am taking courageous steps. Or that mantra, I am a wealth magnet.
Yep.
You're literally giving new instructions to your subconscious.
Okay. Action and language. What's tip 3?
Tip 3 is shut up even more, which basically means find ways to get quiet, meditation, visualization, even just sitting quietly without your phone for a few minutes.
Why does being quiet help find fears?
Because it calms down all the noisy, everyday chatter in your head. In that quieter space, you can often hear the softer voice of your intuition, your inner wisdom. And that's often where those deeper insights come from, like Jen realizing the fear about her dad. It bypasses the logical mind.
So your gut feeling can tell you what your brain is hiding. Makes sense.
Exactly. And it helps you connect with that universal intelligence idea, too. Then tip number 4 is kind of unusual. Have an us talk with money.
Talk to money, like out loud.
Well, she suggests writing a letter to money. Pour out all your feelings, your frustrations, your hopes, your fears, what you appreciate, what you resent. Just get it all down on paper.
Why would that help?
Sounds a bit weird, but it can be incredibly revealing. It makes your relationship with money, which is often just this vague feeling, much more concrete. You actually see the emotional baggage you're carrying. Are you treating money like an enemy, a fickle friend, a scary monster?
It forces you to look at how you really feel.
Oh, it does. And she uses another great analogy here. The monkey trap.
Monkey trap.
Yeah. Imagine a coconut or jar with a small opening. Inside there's a banana or some rice. A monkey reaches in and grabs the bait, but now its fist is too big to pull back out through the narrow opening.
Uh-oh, it's stuck.
It's stuck. But here's the thing. It's not tracked by the jar. It's tracked by its refusal to let go of the banana. If it just opened its hand, it could pull its arm out and be free.
Wow.
Our limiting beliefs and fears, they're like that banana. We're holding on to them so tightly, refusing to let go, and that's what keeps us trapped. Freedom comes when we're willing to release the belief, even though it feels scary.
That's powerful. We trap ourselves by holding on too tight.
Exactly. And a really crucial piece of advice here is about immediate action. When you get an insight, when you uncover a fear or a limiting belief, and you have an idea of what action to take, even a small one, do it right away.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't overthink it. Don't let your fear talk you out of it. The longer you hesitate, the bigger the fear gets and the more likely you are to stay stuck. Momentum is key.
Got it. See the fear, take the action. Fast.
Yep.
And the mantra for this stage is, I love money because money is always here for me. It's designed to build that feeling of trust and security, to counteract the fear of lack or that money won't be there when you need it.
Okay, so facing fears involves taking scary action, watching your language, getting quiet to listen inwards, maybe even writing to money, and acting fast on insights. That's a lot.
It is, but it's about clearing out the internal junk that's blocking the flow. And once you start clearing that, then you can really start listening to what your heart actually wants, which feels like the next logical place to go.
Yeah, finding your why.
Exactly. Chapter 5 is called The Hollering of Your Heart. It's all about getting super clear on why you want more abundance and what you truly authentically desire for your life. It actually starts with a really funny story from when Jen Sincero was living on a farm trying to write her first book. She had a horse and some goats.
Goats. Oh boy, what did the goats do?
Well, one day she came home, and the goats had somehow managed to break into her house.
No, goats inside the house. I bet that was chaos. Total chaos. Things knocked over, chewed on, probably goat poop everywhere. But amidst the disaster, she had this realization. She saw how incredibly determined those goats were. They wanted something inside that house, probably food, and they just kept chewing and pushing and finding a way until they got in. They didn't care about the door being closed or the rules.
Persistent little things. So what's the lesson from the house-invading goats?
She saw them as a model for success. 1. Chew through your obstacles. 2. Ignore rules or limitations that don't serve you. 3. Dream boldly about what you want, like getting into that tasty-smelling house. 4. Never take no for an answer, especially from yourself. Be relentless like a goat.
I love that. Be like a determined goat.
Yeah.
So the hollering of your heart is like that goat-level desire, that unstoppable drive.
Yes. It's about tapping into your deepest, most passionate reasons for wanting change. The book says you absolutely have to know why this matters to you. What will more money do for you? What experiences will it unlock? How will it make you feel? What impact will you make? Connecting with those powerful emotional drivers is the fuel that keeps you going.
And this is where she talks about getting specific,
Yeah.
right? Not just saying, I want more money.
Yes, this is a huge point in Chapter 5. Vague goals or weak goals. I want to be rich doesn't really give your brain or the universe clear instructions. It doesn't generate strong emotion. She uses a great analogy in the Q&A, ordering a sandwich.
Okay.
If you go into a deli and just say, give me a sandwich, who knows what you'll get? Maybe something you hate. But if you say, I want turkey and Swiss on whole wheat, toasted with lettuce, tomato, and mustard, no mayo, then they know exactly what to make, and you know exactly what you're getting. Precisely. Your financial goals need to be like that specific sandwich order. Not just more money, but maybe $10,000 saved for a down payment by December 31st so I can finally buy my own place and feel secure. Or $2,000 a month and extra income from my side business within 6 months so I can quit my draining job and have more time with my kids.
The details make it real and give it power.
Exactly. The amount, the deadline, the why, what it will feel like, that clarity creates focus and emotional drive. And it has to align with who you really are. The book talks about aligning with your true self, meaning don't chase a money goal down a path that feels totally wrong for you just because you think it's the sensible way or someone else told you to. If you hate sales, trying to build a business based purely on cold calling might be miserable and likely won't work well for you.
Yeah, that sounds like torture.
Right. Success comes much more easily, she argues, when you're using your natural gifts, following things you're genuinely interested in, being authentic. Remember that quote. When we push against who we naturally are, we feel stress. It's about finding where your unique talents and passions can provide value that people will happily pay for.
Find your sweet spot.
Exactly, and adopt an and mindset, not either. This comes up in the Q&A. You don't have to choose between doing work you love or making good money. You can do both. You can be spiritual and wealthy. You can be creative and business savvy. Don't limit yourself with false choices.
Okay, so be specific. Make sure it fits you. Think and, not or.
You got it. And then there's one more piece. Staying open to possibilities.
Wait, how does that fit with being specific? Seems opposite.
It's a subtle balance. Be crystal clear on the what, your specific goal, and the why, your deep desire. But then try to let go of controlling the how. This is where surrendering to the universe comes in.
Meaning, trust that the way to get there might surprise you.
Yeah. Once you've set your clear intention and aligned your energy, trust that universal intelligence might bring opportunities or paths you hadn't even considered. Maybe the money doesn't come from the source you expected, but from somewhere totally unexpected. Be open to that. Have your destination clear, but be flexible about the route.
Okay, that makes sense. Destination fixed, route flexible.
Yeah.
What about people who feel totally lost? Like, I don't even know what my heart is hollering for.
Yeah, that's a common feeling. The Chapter 5 Q&A addresses this, I don't know, gap. The advice is basically, start where you are. What small things do you know you enjoy? What are you curious about? What are you okay at?
Don't wait for the big passion to strike.
Right. Just take some action in areas that feel even mildly interesting or positive. Explore things. Try stuff. Stay open and keep moving, even small steps. Clarity often comes through doing things, not just thinking about them. Action generates insight.
Okay, start moving, even if you don't know the final destination yet.
Exactly. Forward motion builds momentum. She shares Anita's success story in this chapter, showing how Anita got really clear on her goals, trusted the process even when she didn't know all the steps, took action, and manifested amazing results. And a really great action step from this chapter is to write a day-in-the-life story
A story about what?
about your future successful self. Write it in the present tense, like it's happening now. What time do you wake up? Where are you living? What do you do all day? Who are you with? How do you feel? Describe it all in detail.
Oh, cool. Like making the future feel super real in your imagination.
Yes, it builds that emotional connection and makes your subconscious believe it's possible, even inevitable.
Okay, so part 2 is really about digging deep, facing the fears that hold you back,
Yeah.
and then uncovering your true desires, making them specific and real, aligning with yourself and trusting the process,
Yeah, clearing the internal path and setting your compass based on what truly lights you up.
which logically leads to actually building the power to make it happen, like the engine for getting there.
Exactly. Now we get into the how-to of building momentum. Chapter 6 is called Your Mental Moneymaker, and it really doubles down on your thoughts being the powerhouse. And the most famous story here is the Jim Carrey one.
Oh, yeah, the check. Tell that story.
Okay, so back when Jim Carrey was still a struggling comedian and actor, not famous yet, he did something kind of wild. He wrote himself a check.
A real check.
Yeah, a check made out to himself for $10 million. In the memo line, he wrote, for acting services rendered. And he dated it 3 years in the future for Thanksgiving 1995.
Wow, what did he do with it?
He carried it in his wallet. Every day, he'd look at it, visualize receiving that money, feel what it would feel like. He held on to that vision and belief strongly.
Did it work?
Well, right before Thanksgiving 1995, the date on the check, he found out he'd landed the role in the movie Dumb and Dumber. And his paycheck for that movie, exactly $10 million.
No way. That's incredible, like down to the dollar amount and the time frame.
It's a pretty stunning story, right? And the book uses it as this perfect, dramatic example of the main principle. We all have the choice to think what we want to think and to take responsibility for the fact that our thoughts create our financial realities. Your focused thoughts, packed with belief and feelings, send out a signal, and the universe, or universal intelligence, responds by bringing circumstances that match.
So what are the key pieces Sincero says you need for this kind of wealth mastery?
Chapter 6 breaks it down into 5 main things. 1, clarity. Know exactly what you want and, really importantly, why you want it. Connect back to that heart's desire.
Okay, clarity first.
2, vision. Hold a clear, strong, vivid picture of your goal already achieved in your mind. See it, feel it, make it real internally.
Visualize it. Got it.
3, love for vision. This is crucial. You have to feel good about your goal. Feel excited, joyful, grateful for it. Positive emotion is the fuel.
Feel the feelings now.
Exactly. 4, faith and gratitude. Believe deep down that it's possible for you and feel thankful for it as if it's already here.
Believe and be thankful.
And 5, action. You can't just sit and visualize. You have to take consistent, inspired steps towards your goal. It's thinking it, feeling it, and doing it.
Think, feel, do. Magic combo.
That's pretty much it. They all work together. And the book is really direct about the biggest thing that stops people: excuses.
Yeah, excuses.
Yeah, there's a blunt quote. You can have your excuses or you can have success. You can't have both. Excuses are just stories we tell ourselves to avoid feeling scared or uncomfortable, to justify staying put. They're mental barriers we build ourselves.
Ouch. That's tough, but probably true.
It really is. The book basically says your job is simple but not easy. Get your energy aligned. Thoughts, feelings, beliefs. Get serious about your goal. Commit, prioritize.
Yeah.
And take action consistently. She talks about her own shift again with that 85K coaching thing.
Yeah.
She went from the excuse, I ain't got the $7,000, which was the initial deposit, to the powerful decision. I will find it, damn it. That change in mindset, that decision fueled the action she took to actually make it happen.
It's the conviction, the I will, instead of I wish.
Yeah. Absolutely. Another quote. Riches come to those who believe anything is possible, even when all signs point to no way in hell. It's about holding that belief, that faith, even when things look tough on the outside.
Which brings us right to faith, the next chapter.
Yep. Chapter 7, Faith and Gratitudinal Gold. It kicks off with a really cool thought experiment in the Q&A section. Imagine you got a 100% guaranteed notice from the universe, like a cosmic contract saying, if you keep working towards your financial dream, it is absolutely guaranteed to happen. How would you feel right now if you knew that for sure?
Oh, wow. I'd feel relieved, excited, confident, probably generous, calm, like the stress would just melt away.
Yes, exactly. That feeling, that calm certainty, that positive expectation, the total lack of worry and desperation, that is the feeling of having faith.
Okay. Faith isn't just hoping. It's like, no.
It's acting and feeling as if you know. The book presents faith as this incredibly powerful catalyst. It does a few key things. It shifts your focus away from problems and limitations towards possibilities. It instantly lifts your energy from fear to excitement. It helps you start acting like the person who has already achieved the goal. It builds trust in the universe, or that intelligence. And maybe biggest of all, it builds massive self-confidence.
Like that quote about leaping off the edge.
Yeah.
If you're badass enough to leap, is there anything you can't do? No, nothing.
That quote nails it. Taking a leap of faith, doing something scary based on belief rather than proof, is incredibly empowering. She compares it to doing stand-up comedy for the first time.
Terrifying.
Totally. You're putting yourself out there. You could totally fail, be humiliated. But making that leap, facing the fear, that's where the real growth happens. Her own example was joining that expensive think tank she was scared to afford. It felt like a huge leap, but guess what? That's where she met the person who gave her her very first coaching client, which kickstarted her whole successful coaching business. The leap led directly to the opportunity.
Wow. So faith isn't passive wishing. It's belief that fuels scary action.
Exactly. Belief in action. Now, the book is real about it. Having faith is hard sometimes, especially when things are tough, when you face setbacks. But often, the biggest breakthroughs come right after the moments where your faith is tested the most.
When you feel like giving up, that might be right before the win.
That's often how it works, yeah. And this is where gratitude becomes faith's best friend.
Okay, how does gratitude help faith? They seem different.
Think of gratitude as an amplifier for faith. When you focus on what you're thankful for right now, even small things, it immediately shifts your energy. You stop focusing on what's missing, lack, and start focusing on what's good, abundance.
And that attracts more good stuff.
That's the idea. There's a great line. Desperation repels, gratitude attracts. If you're feeling desperate, needy, worried all the time, you're sending out negative energy that pushes good things away. But when you feel genuinely grateful for what you have and for the good things coming, you become like a magnet for more abundance.
So even if things are tough, finding something to be grateful for, like, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head, or I'm grateful for this challenge because I'm learning, that helps.
Absolutely. It changes your whole vibration. The book suggests practical ways to build both. Be grateful for challenges and the lessons they bring. Make a daily list of 10 things you're grateful for. Write down reasons you have faith in yourself in the process. Give to others time, money, kindness, which reinforces a feeling of having enough to share. And practice patience, because these things take time.
Patience is a tough one.
It is, but crucial. And another great exercise, finish this sentence. I'm grateful to money because we dirt.
Ooh, okay. I'm grateful to money because it gives me choices.
Perfect. See how that creates a positive feeling around money? Now, there's a quick note about whether faith is enough. Does the book say just believe and wait?
Yeah, does it?
Yeah.
Or do you need practical plans too?
It heavily emphasizes faith and mindset as the absolute foundation. That comes first. But it definitely doesn't stop there. The belief and faith are what enable the effective action, which we're getting to next. But the core is always the inner state.
Okay, faith and gratitude create the right energy and belief. But like you said, you can't just sit on the couch. Action is needed.
Absolutely critical. Belief without action is just daydreaming. Chapter 8 dives headfirst into decisive action. It opens with a really intense story about that climber from the movie Touching the Void.
Oh yeah, I think I know that story. Didn't he have a terrible accident?
Horrific. Broken leg, stranded alone on a mountain in a storm, basically left for dead. His survival came down to one single thing. He made an absolute, unwavering decision that he would live. He refused any other possibility.
That level of pure will.
Yes. And that extreme example shows the kind of mindset the book says you need for wealth. Decide to live fully and pursue wealth unapologetically. Make a real solid decision, not just a maybe or I'll try.
A decision. What makes it different from just wanting something?
The book points to the origin of the word decide. It comes from Latin words meaning to cut off.
Cut off. Cut off what?
Cut off all other options. Cut off backup plans. Cut off the possibility of failure in your mind. There's a quote. If you've made a backup plan, you haven't made a decision. That total focus is incredibly powerful.
Whoa. No backup plan. That sounds scary.
It is. But the idea is if you have a safety net, you might not give your main goal 100%. This focus is key. The book also warns against spreading yourself too thin, fragmenting your time on too many little projects. Focus intensely on your main money goal.
But what if the goal feels huge and overwhelming, like make $1 million? How do you take decisive action on that?
Great question, and the Chapter 8 Q&A covers that. The trick to handling overwhelm is to break the giant goal down into tiny, manageable steps. Don't stare at the whole staircase, just focus on taking the very next step.
Chunk it down.
Exactly. What's the absolute next thing you need to do? Then the next. Focus only on completing that small piece right in front of you.
Okay, that feels more doable. What are the key action steps then?
Chapter 8 outlines a few. First, get super clear again on the goal and how awesome it will feel to achieve it. Second, make that solid, unwavering decision, cut off other options. Third, break your plan down into those small, actionable steps. Fourth, keep your vision and gratitude practices going daily to keep your energy high. And fifth, approach every single task related to your goal, no matter how small, with excellence and positive energy.
And taking risks fits in here too, like spending money to make money.
Definitely. Big growth usually requires stepping outside your comfort zone, and that often means taking calculated financial risks. Investing in your self-coaching courses, software, investing in your business, hiring help, marketing. The book shares Kelly's success story here.
What did Kelly do?
She was making okay money, but felt totally stuck and overworked. She was terrified to hire an assistant because it meant spending money she felt she couldn't spare. But she made the bold, scary decision to do it anyway, investing in that help.
And what happened?
It freed up her time and energy to focus on higher-level tasks. Her business grew massively, and her income shot way up. Her scary decision, her investment, paid off big time. It shows how decisive, even risky, action fueled by belief works.
Yep. So fear can actually point the way.
That's a powerful reframe offered. Let your fear be your compass. The actions you're most afraid to take are often the exact ones that hold the biggest potential for your growth and success. Follow the fear.
Follow the fear.
Yeah, interesting. What other strategies for action? Think ahead about obstacles, anticipate challenges so you can prepare. Set a new financial bottom line, decide, I will not earn less than X amount, and then figure out how to make it happen. Spend money in ways that feel abundant and align with your goals. Investing in yourself is key. And again, when you get a strong idea or see an opportunity, take immediate action.
There's that immediate action again. Don't hesitate.
Momentum, momentum, momentum. The book really pushes this idea. If you absolutely decide you must have a certain amount of money, that money exists for you in the universe. It's just a question of how serious you are about aligning with it and taking the actions to receive it. It reminds you your potential is unlimited. And there's a great action mantra. I love money because I am a fearless, badass money-making machine.
Huh. I like that one. Okay, so part 3 really connects the inner work mindset, faith, gratitude, with the outer work of decisive, focused, sometimes scary action.
Exactly. It bridges the gap between believing it and actually building it.
Okay, so beyond the internal stuff and the direct action, the book also talks about other things that influence our money situation, like our environment. How does that work?
Right. Chapter 9, moving on up, argues that where you are and who you're with makes a huge difference. Sincero talks about visiting Barcelona, feeling the vibrant, energetic, late-night culture there, compared to visiting her cousin in a quiet, rural part of Italy where everything shut down early.
Different places, different vibes.
Totally different energies, different norms, different ways people thought about life and maybe money. Her point is, your surroundings, physical and social, constantly shape your perceptions, your habits, and what feels normal or possible for you financially.
Is that like the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with most?
Exactly like that. The book actually mentions that idea your income might be surprisingly close to the average income of your closest friends. Why? Because your environment sets your expectations and defines your comfort zone. There's a quote. Our environment creates who we are and how we show up.
So if everyone around you complains about being broke or thinks wanting nice things is bad, It's hard not to soak that up.
It's really hard. It becomes your normal. So if you want to change your financial reality, the book says you often need to consciously change or upgrade your environment.
How do you do that? Move.
Moving might be part of it eventually, but it starts smaller. Actively experience the life you want. Now, go hang out in the neighborhoods where you dream of living. Go to cafes or events where successful, positive people might be. Test drive that car you want.
Pretend you already live that life.
Kind of. It helps your subconscious see and feel that reality. It makes it feel less like a fantasy and more like a real possibility. It normalizes it in your mind. Even small changes to your current space matter.
Like cleaning my desk.
Totally.
Yeah.
Cleaning, organizing, getting rid of clutter, maybe adding some fresh paint or pictures that inspire you. These things change the energy of your space and boost your energy. Chapter 9 Q&A. It makes your current environment feel more supportive of your bigger goals. Think of it as investing in your own vibe.
Okay, upgrade my space. What about the people?
This is huge. Surround yourself with the right people. People who are positive, supportive, maybe who are already achieving the kinds of things you want to achieve. She says, faith is contagious. Being around believers helps you believe.
And the opposite is probably true too, right? Doubters drag you down.
Absolutely. Nothing pops our balloon of belief like the pointy pin of a pal. You have to consciously limit your time and energy with people who are constantly negative, who doubt your dreams, or who reinforce those old limiting beliefs you're trying to ditch.
Okay, but what if those negative or unsupportive people are like your family or your oldest friends? That's tough.
Super tough. The Chapter 9 Q&A gives some advice. First, focus intensely on your journey. You can't change them, but you can change yourself. Second, you might need to keep some of your goals and progress private, especially early on, if sharing just invites negativity. Protect your dream. Third, actively seek out new allies.
Find a new tribe.
Exactly. Join online groups, go to workshops or seminars related to your goals, find a mentor, connect with people who get it, and lift you up. The book says you're an energetic creature, so you need to be militant about the energy you expose yourself to. Guard your vibe.
Okay, create a positive bubble, physical space, and people. What comes after environment?
Next up, Chapter 10 is a really practical, maybe uncomfortable step. And now, a word from my accountant. It's about facing the actual numbers, your financial reality.
Ugh. Looking at the bank account and bills, avoidance is easier.
Exactly. And she uses a story about herself as a kid having this burn book with graphic medical photos that she was terrified to look at. She says that's how lots of people treat their finances. They avoid looking because it feels painful or scary.
Yeah, I could relate to that.
But here's the kicker. Avoiding the discomfort backfires. Our attempt to avoid pain backfires on us all the time. The cosmic joke mentioned in the Q&A is that avoiding the short-term pain of looking at your finances actually creates more long-term pain. Constant stress, shame, feeling powerless, and staying stuck.
So step one is just, look, rip off the Band-Aid.
Yes, you have to know where you are to figure out how to get where you want to go. You have to be willing to change something if you want to change your financial situation. And change starts with awareness of the facts. The book also points out that just working hard isn't enough. You need a strategy. You need to manage the money you have and actively work on bringing more in.
Okay, so after facing the numbers, what are the strategies for actually increasing income?
Chapter 10 lays out a few possibilities. One is starting your own business. Find a problem people have that you can solve. Another is expanding a business you already have. Maybe add coaching, create a product, reach new customers.
What if you have a regular job?
You can transform even a boring job. Bring amazing energy. Look for ways to add extra value. Ask for more responsibility. Sometimes gratitude and excellence can literally reshape your current role or lead you to something better within the same company. Or improve low pay by confidently asking for raises and promotions, knowing your worth is key. And finally, if needed, targeted job searching, get really clear on the ideal job and network strategically.
So it's about being proactive, finding ways to give more value.
Exactly, and some core principles run through this. Treat money with respect. Know what's coming in, what's going out. Track it. Embrace failure, see setbacks as learning opportunities, not the end of the road. Temporary defeat is only permanent if you say so. And crucially, value yourself. Charge what you're worth. Ask for what you deserve. Don't shrink yourself.
Don't undersell yourself.
Right. Linda's success story is in this chapter, someone with no formal education who built incredible success through determination and believing in herself. It shows limitations are often just in our heads. And remember that idea from the Q&A, you're in a relationship with money.
Right, give it attention and care.
Exactly. Ignoring your finances is like giving your partner the silent treatment. Not good for the relationship.
Okay, so face the facts, get strategic about increasing income, value yourself.
Yeah.
That feels very action-oriented.
It is. And then chapter 11 brings it back inside, focusing on your inner wealth. This connects everything to your internal state. It starts with a cool story about the musician Prince.
Prince, okay.
Early in his career, like early 80s, he opened for the Rolling Stones. Big gig. But the audience was not ready for his unique style, his look, his music. They booed him off the stage.
Ouch. That's harsh. What did he do?
He was upset, obviously. But
No.
did he change his music or his style to fit in? Nope. He doubled down on being uniquely Prince. The lesson, stay true to yourself, embrace what makes you different and special, even if some people don't get it or don't like it.
You're authentically you, even when it's unpopular.
Exactly. The more in tune and in love you are with your awesome self, the less crap you will give about what any non-fans of yours think. The book says you, your unique self, your talents, your quirks, that's your greatest asset. Your inner state is the core of your wealth.
And this is where things like meditation and affirmations come back in.
Yes, they're revisited here as essential tools for building that inner wealth. Meditation, even just 5 minutes a day, helps. Q&A, quiets the mental static, helps you connect to your inner guidance, that universal intelligence. Affirmations are crucial for reprogramming your subconscious, replacing the negative chatter with beliefs that attract abundance, because your self-talk shapes reality.
What else builds inner wealth?
Kindness. Giving to others generously without expecting something back immediately creates this amazing positive energy flow. The more you give, the more you receive. Serving others actually raises your own vibration.
Patience and confidence, too.
Definitely. Patience, we talked about, it's essential for navigating the journey without getting discouraged. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's like a muscle you build. You build it by taking risks, facing fears, practicing confident body language, and consistently honoring your true self. Confidence is vital for taking action. The chapter also mentions consciously choosing positivity, dropping the victim story, celebrating your wins, even tiny ones, Q&A, and forgiveness, letting go of resentment frees up so much energy, Q&A.
Wow, so much of this comes back to how you manage your own mind and energy.
It's presented as the absolute key. The practical steps listed again are things like meditate daily, use affirmations constantly, do kind things for others, practice patience, actively work on building confidence, reflect on gratitude. It's all about cultivating that rich inner landscape.
Okay. And then the last piece of this section seems to be sticking with it, tenacity.
Yes. Chapter 12 is tenacity. This is the glue that holds it all together when things get hard, because they will get hard sometimes. It shares a story about a woman who started her own investment company using her life savings, faced huge setbacks and discrimination, but just refused to quit. Grit.
And the book says tenacity is the #1 thing successful people point to.
That's the claim. Quote Q&A. More than talent, more than luck, it's the sheer refusal to give up that separates those who make it from those who don't. It keeps you committed through the dips and challenges.
So how do you get more tenacious? Can you learn it?
The book says yes and gives strategies. First, hold tight to your why. Constantly reconnect with your deep emotional reasons for pursuing your goal. That's your fuel. Second, go to the spiritual gym daily.
Spiritual gym.
Yeah, like a mental and energetic workout. Spend at least 15 minutes every day doing things that strengthen your mindset. Read inspiring books, journal, meditate, exercise, listen to uplifting stuff, Q&A. Build that inner resilience. Third, do your homework. Become an expert in your field. Study your industry, learn about sales and marketing. Knowledge builds confidence and competence. Fourth, seek a mentor. Find someone who's already done what you want to do and learn from them.
Okay, connect to why. Daily practice. Learn. Get guidance. What about push it real good? Sounds intense.
It's about pushing your boundaries. Recognize where your comfort zone ends, that point where you start feeling fear or resistance, and consciously choose to push past it. Stretch yourself regularly. Don't retreat when things feel uncomfortable. And watch out for the tricksters.
The tricksters, like excuses again.
Exactly, Q&A. Quote, those sneaky thoughts, temptations, distractions that try to lure you back into comfort, back into procrastination, away from the scary action. The book advises zero tolerance for negotiational excuses. Don't bargain with yourself about sticking to your commitments.
Oof. No negotiating with the part of you that wants to quit.
Pretty much. Now, changing course if a strategy isn't working, that's fine. That's course correction. But don't confuse adapting with quitting. Stay focused on the end goal. To build tenacity habits, try linking a new habit to an old one, like do your affirmations while the coffee brews, strengthen your mindset muscles every single day, and the mantra for tenacity, I love money and will not give up until Q&A. I am surrounded by all the wealth I desire. You fill in your specific goal at the end.
Wow, okay. Tenacity is about grit, fueled by your why, strengthened by daily practice, and just refusing to quit or make excuses.
That really captures it. It's the staying power.
Man, we have covered a ton of men.
Yeah.
Beliefs, fears, desires, mindset, faith, action, environment, facing finances, inner strength, tenacity was the final big picture message in the last chapter.
Chapter 13, Change Loves Company, kind of zooms out and offers perspective. Jen tells a story about going back to visit her childhood neighborhood years later with her brother. And things that seemed huge to them as kids, certain houses, distances, landmarks, looked so much smaller and different now through their adult eyes. Things had changed, but mostly their perspective had changed.
Ah, so things look different when you've grown.
Exactly. And she uses this to say, your current money, fears, and struggles, the things that feel absolutely massive and overwhelming right now. Chances are, when you look back on them later, after you've grown and moved past them, they'll seem much smaller, much less powerful than they feel today.
They're like those make-believe dramas she mentioned earlier, based on old ways of seeing things.
Precisely. Quote, they feel intensely real now, but they're often built on those limiting beliefs, not on the ultimate truth of what's possible for you. The book circles back one last time to the absolute core message. The most important step, the fundamental shift required to get rich, is simply deciding you're going to.
Just deciding.
Yeah.
Sounds too simple.
Simple, but not easy. It's that unwavering mental commitment that's the biggest hurdle to overcome. It's not about learning some secret, complicated financial strategy first Q&A. It's about winning the inner game of belief and commitment.
Though the biggest block is usually us.
That's the argument. Our own resistance, our fears, our limiting stories. And she points out this awesome bonus prize. Quote, when you do this work, when you shift your energy and mindset around money, it doesn't just affect your bank account.
What else changes?
Everything. Your confidence skyrockets, your relationships often improve, you have more energy, you feel happier, more empowered, because working on your money mindset is working on your whole self. They're totally connected.
So getting better with money makes your whole life better.
That's the powerful promise. And the book ends with this huge dose of encouragement. It reminds you, the listener, that you already have everything you need inside you right now to create the wealth you desire. Quote, you have the power, the worthiness, the potential.
We just have to unlock it.
And believe it, and act on it. And from the book's viewpoint, the universe itself is fundamentally abundant and is ready to support you. Q&A. It challenges that common idea that struggle is just normal or inevitable. That's just a belief system you can choose to step out of. The final message is really, you are powerful, you are magnificent, you are meant to live abundantly. Go for it.
Wow. It really all comes back to belief, deciding, and then backing it up with committed action. Believing in yourself, believing in possibility.
Absolutely. It's an inside job first, always. Then comes the aligned action and the refusal to give up.
This has been incredibly thorough. We've gone all the way from realizing where our money ideas come from, tackling those hidden fears, figuring out what we really want, building the mental muscle through faith and vision, taking decisive action, shaping our environment, getting real with the numbers, boosting our inner strength, and finding that grit to keep going.
Yeah, it's quite a journey she lays out. Shedding the old limiting stuff, embracing your potential, aligning your thoughts and feelings, and then moving forward with focus and determination. The big takeaway, really, is that becoming a badass at making money is less about financial tricks and more about transforming your inner world, your beliefs, your energy, and letting that transformation drive your actions.
And it seems like the biggest roadblock, again and again, is just our own internal landscape. The stories we tell ourselves, the limits we accept, the fear we let stop us.
That's the strong argument, yes, that your financial results are more a reflection of your inner state than anything else.
Okay. So, if our financial reality is largely created by our inner world, like the book says, and if the universe is abundant and waiting to support our desires, here's a final thought to chew on. What's the biggest, most exciting, maybe even slightly scary financial goal that you listening are willing to finally give yourself permission to chase? What does your heart really want?
And maybe, what's one small, potentially fear-inducing action you could take today that would point you in that direction?